A warm welcome to you here on TV News Hour, here on TV Sapiencia. The top stories today. The federal government has set up a committee to carry out major changes to the National Youth Service Corps. The UK is ready to support India and Pakistan to de-escalate tensions following an exchange of fire over Kashmir, a cabinet minister has said. Getafe midfielder Crisantos Uche will serve the last of his three-match ban this weekend when his club face Valencia in a Week 35 game at Mestalla Stadium. My name is Chioma Victormeka. Thank you so much for joining us. Now the news in full. The federal government has set up a committee to carry out major changes to the National Youth Service Corps. The goal is to make the scheme stronger, more useful to national growth, and better suited to the needs of Nigerian youths. This decision followed rising concerns about the safety of corps members, poor facilities, and whether the NYSC still fits into today's social and economic realities. The inauguration of the committee happened in Abuja on Tuesday yesterday with key people from government, civil society, and private business in attendance. Speaking at the event, the Minister of Youth Development, Ayodele Olawande, said the NYSC has played an important role in building national unity and helping young people since 1973. Away from that, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps in Anambra State has deployed 1,531 officers to provide security for President Bola Tinubu's visit to the state on Thursday. The officers will guard important national state and local government properties and infrastructure. The NSCDC commandant in Anambra, Olatunde Mako, gave the update today Wednesday after a meeting with top officers, area commanders, divisional officers, heads of units, and other senior staff at the state headquarters in Oka. Mako said the officers would also come from nearby states like Enugu, Imo, Abia, Ebonyi, and Delta to support the team in Anambra. Mako said the officers will be placed in key locations like the airport, bridges, government buildings, parks, market, electricity and telecom facilities, Solution Fund City, and other sensitive places across the state. The 2023 presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, has challenged President Bola Tinubu to embrace his administration's Nigeria First policy by trading his Escalade for Innocent, Nord, or any other made-in-Nigerian car. In a statement issued today Wednesday by his special assistant on public communication, Frank Shaibu, the former vice president said the gesture would boost local industry more effectively than countless policy documents. On Monday, the Federal Executive Council gave the green light to a Nigeria First economic policy aimed at giving preference to locally produced goods and services in all government purchases. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, announced this after the FEC meeting in Abuja, stating that the policy would soon be reinforced through an executive order. Away from that, we move right now to education, where the National Association of Polytechnic Students has issued a 5-day ultimatum to the Nigeria Education Loan Fund, a board, to provide a detailed breakdown of fund disbursement. Now, the student loan scheme has come under intense scrutiny following allegations by the National Orientation Agency that some institutions, in collaboration with banks, have been making fraudulent deductions from student loan disbursement. Last week, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission said in its preliminary probe, it revealed that while NAL Fund had released 100 billion naira as students' loan, 71 billion naira is accounted for. These allegations triggered a wave of outrage, culminating in a protest on Monday by members of the National Association of Nigerian Students, who blocked the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. In a communique issued today Wednesday, which was signed by the President Ishofune Ohayan and Senate President Oyewumi Ayomide, NAP said it would mobilize protests nationwide should the NAL Fund fail to reveal breakdown of how polytechnics received funds. Still in education, the JAMB admission, that's the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, that's JAMB, has released the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination results. Now, in this year's UTME, over 1.5 million out of 1.955069 candidates who sat for the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination scored below 200 in the just concluded examination. Now, this was relieved and also revealed in the statistical analysis of the 2025 UTME results released by the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board JAMB on Monday. The statistics indicated that only 420,415 candidates scored above 200 in the 2025 edition of the UTME. The data showed that 75% of the candidates scored below 200 in the exam, with less than 1% scoring above 300. In the statement accompanying the data, the JAMB said that 40,247 underage candidates were permitted to demonstrate their exceptional abilities. However, only 467 of these candidates, that's 1.16%, achieved scores that meet the threshold for exceptional ability as defined for the UTME, with a performance in the subsequent 3 stages still pending. The examination began on a Thursday, April 24. We're following up on the story and we'll keep updating you. Still in education, in the just concluded JAMB, the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, has said the high failure rate in the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination is a clear evidence that the government's anti-malpractice measures are yielding results, especially within the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board system. His remarks come amid nationwide concern following JAMB's release of results showing that out of 1,955,069 candidates who sat for the 2025 UTME, only about 420,000 scored above 200, meaning more than 78% failed to meet the 200 mark threshold. Now, speaking on Tuesday at a TV program, Alausa said that a drop in performance reflects a significant decline in examination malpractice due to JAMB's tightened security protocols. Alausa also disclosed that upon assumption of office, the Education Ministry conducted a full review of the country's examination system. As part of a broader reforms, he announced that both the West African Examination Council, WAEC, and the National Examinations Council will begin transitioning to computer-based testing by November 2025, starting with objective papers. The Nigerian Air Force has urged Nigerians, particularly youths from the southwest and southeast regions, to consider joining the nation's armed forces to promote national unity and inclusivity. Abdulaziz Opalaye, commander of the 115 Operations Group NAF Port Harcourt, made the appeal on Tuesday during a maiden open day event organized to mark the 2025 NAF Day celebration. Opalaye expressed concern over the low representation of youths from the southern regions in the military, noting that their inclusion would enhance diversity and strengthen national cohesion. According to him, the armed forces symbolize unity, which every Nigerian, irrespective of regional or ethnic background, has a role to play in the defense of the nation. Away from that story, farmers in Anambra State have called on government at all levels to provide them with robust support this farming season as a solution to the ongoing food security ravaging Nigeria. In Awka, the farmers, including Mr. Alfred Nkemdelin from Okbuno in Awka South Local Government Area and Mrs. Nkechi Ozwa from Amanuke in Awka North Council area, emphasized the need for increased assistance for farmers, advocating more financial support, improved access to quality seedlings, and enhanced security in farming communities and farmlands to encourage large-scale cultivation. Also speaking, the President General of Urum Community, also in Awka North Local Government Area, Sir Felix Oraye, who commended the Anambra State government for its support to farmers, appealed for timely distribution of seedlings and financial aid to farmers, calling for the construction of more access routes to major farming areas to ease transportation and evacuation of farm produce. Away from Anambra State and Nigeria, the UK, that's the United Kingdom, is considering new immigration measures that could make it harder for citizens of Nigeria, Pakistan and Sri Lanka to obtain visas, citing high rates of overstays and subsequent asylum claims. According to the information first published by The Times yesterday, Tuesday, the UK Home Office is preparing to introduce stricter visa policies targeting nationalities identified as having a greater likelihood of remaining in the country beyond the terms of their visas. In recent years, there has been a surge in the number of Nigerians relocating abroad in search of greener pastures a phenomenon now popularly known as Japa in Nigeria. UK authorities say a pattern of individuals arriving on work or study permit and later seeking asylum triggered the proposed restrictions. A spokesperson for the Home Office confirmed that the forthcoming immigration white paper will outline steps to reform the system. Quite interesting. The UK is ready to support India and Pakistan to de-escalate tensions following an exchange of fire over Kashmir, a cabinet minister has said. Officials said at least 19 people have been killed and 38 others wounded after India fired missiles across the border into Pakistani-controlled territory in at least 6 locations overnight. Pakistani forces were reported to have shelled Indian-controlled Kashmir. The escalation in the conflict between the two nuclear-armed powers follows last month's massacre of tourists in the Indian-controlled portion of Kashmir. New Delhi has blamed Pakistan for the attack, which killed 22 people, but Islamabad has denied responsibility. On Wednesday, that's today, Trade Secretary Jonathan Reynolds said his cabinet colleague David Lammy had reached out to both nations in an effort to avoid further escalation as US and European figures. Finally, in sports, Getafe midfielder Chrysanthus Uche will serve the last of his 3-match ban this weekend when his club faced Valencia in a Week 35 game at Mestalla Stadium. Uche was handed the 3-game discipline after he was sent off in their 1-0 loss against Espanyol on April 18, but it was Nigeria's second sending off this season after he was adjudged to have stamped on the shin of an Espanyol player. He was first shown a yellow card, but after a VAR review, the referee changed it to a red card. The 21-year-old could have served a 1-game ban, but his actions after the incident warranted a report, which further complicated his case. Well, with our story on sports, we wrap it up on today's news hour. A quick reminder of our top stories. We told you that the federal government has set up a committee to carry out major changes to the National Youth Service Corps. The UK is ready to support India and Pakistan to de-escalate tensions following an exchange of fire over Kashmir, a cabinet minister said. And finally, Getafe midfielder Chrysanthus Uche will serve the last of his 3-match ban this weekend when his club face Valencia in a Week 35 game at Mestalla Stadium. Well, that's it on News Hour. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you once again. And stay with us here on TV Sapiens as we have other programs to ensure that you enjoy your Wednesday and do have a great time. My name is Chioma Victor. Stay well.